Hey, what's up guys? I am Peachy, and I'm here with my good friends Inks, Alex, and Corvus, and today we're going to be talking about Living World Season 3, Episode 1, Out of the Shadows. And everything is on the table tonight, so spoilers abound if you haven't finished the story yet, and you want to keep that as a surprise. You might want to come back and watch this video later. So, let's get right into it, guys. Season 3, Episode 1. I thought they did a fantastic job.
It was definitely a thing, that's for sure.
It was a thing.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Like the content that we got was just head and shoulders above what Heart of Thorns was, what Season 2 was. And I'm not, slamming Heart of Thorns or Season 2. There was some good stuff in there, but Out of the Shadows was just consistently excellent all the way through. Like it had emotion, it had action, it had new mechanics, it had the big kind of twists at the end, and like that is everything I wanted out of an episode in terms of the story. And I just think they did a fantastic job of it. Absolutely nailed it.
I think everything was really high quality, and you could tell all the little details that they put into it, all the little extra things, especially in the first instance where you can actually, like, you're kind of more free to go around and talk to NPCs. You can get a whole, like, history of Air and who she is. And, I mean, basically a completely voiced summary of Edge of Destiny, the novel. Because
Pretty much,
says, how they got together and what they achieved. And it was, I really liked all the little details. Really polished.
Yeah, there's one slight thing about that instance, like a really tiny niggle, that only the person who owns the instance can interact with stuff, and that kind of like, that was the same thing all the way through the episode, that if you were playing in a group, the group couldn't contribute to progressing like the story or like picking items up and doing that kind of thing, which I guess if you own...
I did it with a group, the Air instance, and whenever it said, like, go around and pick your way to honor her, like, you could do the ice sculptures or you could put the flowers, I'm pretty sure my group was able to contribute. Because I only did, like, one thing and then we were done, because everybody was doing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I could do out of the entire thing when it wasn't my instance was create the ice sculptures.
Oh,
like,
maybe that was it.
Stuff like getting credit for picking up the flowers, activating the base in the chapel right at the very end. Like, couldn't do a thing.
Okay.
But it was... Oh, go on, Nick.
I hope that at some point we can go back and see the sculpture of Air finished.
Yeah.
I know that within this instance is sort of locked in time, so of course it will always be worked on when you go and play through this instance, but I hope that maybe in the live world or something they add, and I haven't actually checked. Maybe they already have. I don't know. But I hope that the completed sculpture of Air is put in there at some point. Someone is saying yes. I don't know. But hopefully, hopefully that's done. Her finished sculpture.
Yeah, I've not checked in the kind of the open world instance whether she's even still there, because I know before this episode at least she was just hanging out, in her house. And they should really do a thing where if you enter that instance after Heart of Thorns and maybe after this, then the statue is finished and she's gone, that kind of thing, just for consistency.
I've got to say, that particular story instance, the first instance we go into, that is the first time Guild Wars 2 has ever provoked an emotional response from me in in 4 years. In 4 years, and Garm comes back in with rocks. I was just, that was it. Like, I was like, it's a computerized dog. It's like, I shouldn't care.
It broke your heart of stone.
But
do you have a heart of thorns, Alex?
So I was like,
do you have a heart of thorns?
There's onions. There's onions in the room.
Yeah, I cried. Like, I couldn't help it. I was like I even said, like, this is... Well, of course I cried when Garm came back. But, like, it was one of those, like, I was crying, but not, like, like bawling, you know. I was just like, I was so happy to see him, and then it was like, okay, I'm done talking to Rox, I'm done fawning over him, I'm like on to the next thing, and like these tears kept coming out of my eyes. I'm like, Jesus, this is ridiculous. I was like, God, Garb, you're making me leak. It was great. I was so happy.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's funny because I see a lot of comments, and normally I would agree. Fictional characters and stuff they don't pull on my heartstrings. They just don't really. But I think it's because I have a greater apathy for animals in general, and seeing Garm come back wounded and dirty, and the real sadness is the fact that he's alive. He tried to help his master. He tried to find his master, but ultimately failed, comes back wounded, broken, etc. And he kind of, once you clean him up and feed him and give him a little attention, he then just lays there. And one of the NPCs says a line like, "Oh, look at Garm. He's missing air. He's looking for air, right? He's sitting there pining for his lost master." And that pulls on like real world heartstrings, anyone who's ever had a pet or an animal, etc.
But
yeah, I don't know.
It was very simple. It wasn't kind of the drama wasn't overplayed or anything like that, because I think that's what video games tend to do sometimes, like lay it on super thick and it gets kind of lost. But it was very simple, and like the music in the background, and it was just a really, really gentle kind of scene. And like, yeah, seriously, in the first time in this game that actually provoked a proper response from me. So
yeah, I'd have to agree. That whole instance was emotionally just really well done. And like you were saying, it was simple and stuff. They didn't ram it full of other stuff. They didn't talk about other things or hint too much at other things. It was just there for like air. And
but there
I think
was
it was just
those
handled really
other.
well.
I think it's good that there
was
was
a couple of
hints, little things. I mean,
Yeah.
our guild got named. Our guild got started in that instance. But like you said, it wasn't overplayed. It wasn't like that was the point of the instance. The point was to honor air.
Exactly.
And that was
they did that really well.
That was actually really well paced, because there is some comedy in the.
Yes.
There's some comedy relief in there, but it's at the very beginning before Garm comes back and before you memorialize air. Really, the Uncle Trombone and Fate's Razor. I have Uncle Bemis's magic. The Uncle Uncle Bemis. I don't know. I feel like I need to make a character called Uncle Bemis. That the whole Uncle Bemis name is brilliant. I don't know who came up with Uncle Bemis, but I have Uncle Bemis's magical sword or magic sword or whatever it was. I was like, Uncle Bemis. I need to meet Uncle Bemis. He sounds fantastic.
That is one thing I have to say for this whole patch, was that it was probably the funniest patch that we've ever had too, in terms of story content. Like, it was just, the comedy in this patch was amazing. And yeah, like I was saying before, it didn't take away from the kind of emotion that they were trying to get into us. And I didn't really care about Garm that much. That was kind of controversial, I guess. I'm a cat guy. I don't care about dogs.
I'm a cat guy.
Yeah, but you cried for a dog, mate. So I'm just saying.
Hey, no, there were no tears.
And in your cat guy license.
It were just internal feels. Internal feels.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, yeah, it was sad. It's sad. I was joking around. The speech, the kind of speech you do right at the end, though, was, I don't know whether it was just, I really like the Sovari personal character voice actor.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And the speech with him, like I watched your playthrough, Peachy, and the human female version of it, and I watched the Azura one as well. But the Sovari male player character, at least of what I've seen, was so well done, kind of shouting, and you could really feel it in his performance. It was amazing. And like, it was the speech that really got me. I was like, really, really well done. And they focused so much and so well on just giving you this moment to relax and remember air. And like you said, going through the kind of the forming of Destiny's Edge and stuff, quoting the novels and stuff like that. It was amazingly done. And probably one of my favorite instances out of the whole of Guild Wars 2.
I agree. It's funny because, and we can talk about this a little more perhaps, but you could tell at certain, I guess, I don't know, because I'm listening for it. I think if you're not listening for it, you won't notice it. You could tell Ritlock had recorded and of course this is the way it's done, but Ritlock had recorded in several different sessions because the gravel in his throat, in his voice, was different depending on which kind of lines he was delivering. In every instance, this was the case. You could tell the difference in voice acting. But I played through. I haven't played the other races yet, but I played through on the male Sylvari both times so far. And the voice acting on that character, there's particular lines that they deliver that are just kind of flat. They're not really, and in the past this has been true as well. But that voice acting for errors like eulogy or whatever you want to give it a call, not only is that eulogy part written very well, but his voice acting, his delivery of that was probably the best voice acting I've heard in Guild Wars 2 up to this date.
Wow.
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely.
You could literally feel and hear the pain in his voice as he was delivering it. He felt like, as your character, he felt like, it gave you this feeling like your character really felt this way about Air and about the people of Tyria, etc. As the message goes on.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever the voice actor is, and I'm really terrible with voice actors' names, but whoever the voice actor is for the male Sylvari, really well delivered. Yeah, like super well delivered.
Mm-hmm. And I must say as well, that's kind of a theme that I saw a lot in this patch, was that the dialogue for your player character in this, if you look at Season 2 and Heart of Thorns, you're kind of just this character and you're the leader and whatever, stuff happens. But in this one, they did a really good job of making them feel like actually alive. You're not just there saying things for the purpose of continuing the plot. You're the commander of the pact, blah, blah, blah. You actually feel like, oh, damn, like this guy here that I have is actually like a person in this world and stuff's happening and he has feelings about stuff, Instead of just doing that typical, onward, I'm the hero, I'm the leader kind of thing, they actually add this kind of depth, this more emotional side to him, and I think it was really, really well done.
Yeah. What I actually thought as well with the with the whole episode, there was a really great sense of pacing, all the way leading up to the episode. It feels like it. Well, no,
sort of.
To me, it feels like the first part was talking and kind of story exposition. Then you got the second part with Timey, where you got more story and a little bit of combat and a little bit of interaction, and that the kind of the Simon Says puzzle game with the portal was pretty cool. I think, and it's especially fun when you get it wrong on purpose just to see little Azura get zapped. I thought that was well funny. But I think there's probably an achievement for getting it right the first time. So, killjoys. But as it kind of goes on, you fight the shark a bit, and then you finally go to the new map, and then it just goes banana armors, and it all kind of starts going a bit crazy, and just the combat just ramps up as you get closer towards the end. And so
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so I think the way that they did that, it was really great pacing.
I think that I'll say that I think the pacing for the story that we have is good. I think it's on point, like you were saying. I don't like the overall pacing. Since Heart of Thorns, we've had this fast-paced story. And because you have this fast-paced story, you can't really slow it down and take a break and explore characters in a proper manner, because that kills the pacing of the story, and then it ruins it and gives the opposite effect of what Alex was saying. And when we start out of the shadows, the pacing is similar to Heart of Thorns. It's fast. Air, timey, end slate, right? And it's moving along, right? There's no time to sit and relax, and you find out about particular characters like the Pale Tree and Brahm and Zosha and Logan, but you only find out about them because somebody else told you something about them. You didn't have time to visit them or find out a real story about them. And sure, that'll probably be explained later in greater detail. But it just feels like everything is fast-paced. It's like, gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do this. There's not a lot of time for downtime necessarily, right? And I don't know that I necessarily like the short concise, fast-paced stories, and that sort of seems to be like the direction we're moving in since Heart of Thorns.
Yeah.
I agree completely.
But would you rather have these would you rather have had a second instance for Trahern's memorial, another instance for going to see the Pale Tree and all this stuff, and then all of that being so dense and complex and full of lore, sure, and full of feelings and stuff that we wanted to see, but then not even have gotten to the Primordus reveal, the Mersat reveal?
I don't know if it's about like the pacing in terms of I don't know, like not necessarily how long it takes, but more just I think about how natural it feels. I feel like the first two instances were brilliantly done. They felt like deep and kind of chill and just focusing on delivering the story to you. But as soon as you reach the new map, I feel like everything had that kind of, it felt rushed almost. I'm not saying it wasn't good, but just the pacing in those definitely felt a lot quicker and more like and I know it's an urgent situation, and I know, like crab's going down, you need to do this stuff like fast. I feel like whether it was how much dialogue there was or how much of a real context you're given and how that context was delivered to you, it didn't feel as well paced as the first two instances.
On top of that, it was short.
Yeah, and it was very short, and I think that adds
more
to
4 sections.
I feel like if, had the thing taken longer and been like a huge, like maybe twice the length, I feel like they would have had more time to, and that's not a realistic thing at all, but like they would have had way more time to build up this thing, this whole idea of what's Codicus doing, playing into that more, maybe going into why and how he's been acting suspicious and all this stuff, and then giving him that time on the pedestal, like when you finally get to him before the big reveal, because I feel like, oh, he's there, oh, now he's gone, like, oh, he's not the main guy, like he could have had some time there to really deepen his character. I'm glad they didn't kill him, because it gives him that chance later on. But if we had managed to get there and he actually spoke to us more, we had more of an interaction with him, whether it was a fight or just more of a cutscene and with more dialogue explaining stuff better, it would have felt fine. But the fact that you get there and within 2 minutes, he's gone, and then there's the other thing that you have to focus on instead, it kind of belittled the fact that his place and what he was doing was actually a reveal on its own. Everyone talk, it's the Mersat and then it's the Primordus thing, but actually the fact that we've confirmation in game of what Codicus has been doing,
true,
and that goes right back to the launch of the game and stuff that's in like core Tyria with the dungeons, and I feel like that could have been a bit more of a bigger deal had they had more.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was a huge leap to know what Codicus was up to, and
no,
I think I think to some extent
could have gone deeper.
There was a lot of conversation about it, like in the at the end of Instance 2, all through Instance 3, all through that final instance. There was, I know exactly what you're saying, Corvus, but there was, to be fair, a lot of talk of Codicus throughout half the episode.
I still think that, so the reason that we're rushed into the second part is because we get a letter from Taimi. If we don't get that letter from Taimi, we can go talk to the Pale Tree to see how she's doing. We can have a conversation with our mother if you're a Sylvari. If you're not a Sylvari, you can talk to her about Trahern and get her thoughts on his sacrifice or something, right? Then you can go and you can check on Logan, and maybe there is something that can happen in Divinity's Reach, because by the time we get to Bloodstone Fen, Marjorie is sort of just shoehorned right in there. Here's Marjorie. Here you go. Casimir, I don't know. We'll find out about her later. Her and Marjorie are still
her outfit's not ready yet.
Clearly, they're not. They're not on the greatest of terms.
They're on a break.
But there could have been a little bit of more Codicus stuff, or talk with the Queen about the situation with Codicus, or talk with the niece, etc.
They definitely
went a different. They simply went a different route, and they decided, here's Canuck. Boom, he's in the story. He'll tell you what's going on, and let's go to the next
instance. We got a whole instance with Kaith. We didn't, I think they chose, they chose certain characters for us to do the instances with and for us to interact with. They chose Canuck, they chose Kaith, and that's the leftover stuff from Heart of Thorns. They wrapped up, Kaith saying, I'm sorry, forgive me, and continuing to explain herself. I think, to be fair, I think we would have been complaining if the opposite were true. If we got Bram and Casimir, but we didn't get a lot of Canuck and Kaith, it would be like, where's Canuck? Where's Kaith?
Oh, 100%.
Right. So then this comes back to, are there too many characters?
Well, they're slowly killing them off, aren't they?
Well, not really.
Well, Zoja, we
Well,
got confirmation that
there's
Zoja's kind of,
there's a
her
reason
brains
for
are
them not
scrambled
being
and
there.
she's drooling, so,
Yeah.
you know, she's not going to be in it for a while. But there was
so
mention
they'd
of
have to
her.
pay
But
Felicia Day for the voice. What?
Yeah, I think there's.
Well, hold on. Where did
There's
the Zoja brain scramble come in at? Is that
at
because
the
of
end,
Asura?
at the end when we went into the dragon room with Timey, the optional thing, you could go up top and eavesdrop on the other Asura,
yeah,
and one of them
yeah, you
mentions
could.
that Zoja is not here. You know, she's Timey's protege, or Timey is her protege. And they said, well, she's still drooling, and because you know from the whole Mordremoth thing, so she's like very out of it.
Yeah,
Because
Zoja got pretty messed up more than
Yeah,
Logan did.
that seems to
okay,
be
so
the meta.
which is interesting because
Yes.
if you don't do that part, the only thing you hear is that Zoja's fine, she's recovering.
She is recovering, but you don't know her state. She's
Yeah.
okay. She's
This
fine.
is what
she's,
I mean.
she's right.
This-
she's okay
this
as
is what I
far
mean.
as she's alive.
This is what I mean, though. Like, you don't know that unless you do that optional whatever, right?
But
Which is
it-
great. Don't get me
it
wrong. I
says
like
that.
I like the Easter egg thing.
Yeah.
But I missed that on my first playthrough. It wasn't until somebody in stream said, "Oh, hey, you just missed something. You didn't go to this particular part to overhear, more conversation or whatever." And I just wonder how many people are going to miss that because Zoja's real state that her brain is scrambled. I mean, it's that's a pretty interesting lore bit, right? That's
Yeah.
that makes her situation seem a little more dire than what you
Logan.
originally are told.
Well, what makes it interesting, I think they did a really good job throughout this episode of whatever our player as our, like, on our account, on our characters, things that you have achieved in the game, some of the dialogue can change. Like, when you talk to Bennett, whether you've completed the raids or not, his dialogue can change from, if you've done the raiding, he'll say, "You rescued me from Spirit Vale." If you haven't done it, he'll say, "The rescue team has rescued me." And I think that's brilliant. That's so brilliant. I applaud ArenaNet for those little touches. And it's the same with if you're on a different race, if you're on a different, depending on what you are, some of the dialogue will change. But it seems like our choice during Heart of Thorns to rescue either Logan or Zoja seems like that's not going to matter because they've kind of, the meta is kind of that you chose Logan because Logan's doing okay. The Queen said in the Queen's interview on the website that he's doing okay.
As far as we know.
As far as, sure,
Yeah.
as far as we know, that she could be lying. Hello everyone, and welcome back to GuildGab episode 84. I'm Peachy, and I'm here with Inks, Alex, and Corvus, and we're gonna kind of pick up where we left off last week. Unfortunately, I had a little bit of an internet issue, and I got cut off mid-sentence, so that was no fun.
So what were you saying?
I was talking about how it's very cool that the conversations in the story was very dynamic.
Oh,
Actually, it was right where I
Yeah.
left off. But we've covered most of the story, so we're gonna kind of skip ahead and talk about the ending, because we didn't get to the ending at all, and the two giant bombshells. By the way, if you're watching new on Twitch for this week, there are spoilers if you haven't played the story yet. So 5, 4, 3. The two huge bombshells were, of course, that
Corvus
Lazarus.
is my father.
That's a responsibility.
Dude, you don't drop a bombshell like that live on the internet. Come on now. Now this is Jerry Springer.
Midget fight, midget fight, midget fight.
Oh,
Sorry.
boy.
So Lazarus is back. Lazarus
Yep.
has been resurrected, and apparently Primordus is active. So we got two huge bombshells in the final instance.
Yeah, I always thought Primordus would be last. I always thought he'd be the last one.
That was a bigger shock that they threw the Primordus is active in there right at the end.
Yeah.
Like, because the raids were kind of leading up to Lazarus. And they talked about Lazarus, and that's like kind of what the White Mantle were doing. So when Lazarus shows up, it was a really cool scene. But I wasn't like, oh my god, that was the last thing I was expecting, you know?
Yeah, no. It was. I think everyone was pretty sure it was going to happen at some point during season 3. So.
Yeah. Which the thing is, now that I've actually finished the raid, like all 3 raid wings,
Yay!
except
Good job.
Zira, because I didn't have leyline gliding, so I just had to watch everyone else kill it. I didn't even
Hey,
get
Alex,
credit.
you need to glide here. Okay, guys, here I come.
I was like, come on.
Carry me.
I died. I don't actually have.
I'm
the
gonna stand
mastery.
in. No, it was my idea. I was gonna 1 mana just standing on the thing in the middle, but I thought that it's not fair. There's 9 other people here. They need a chance to contribute as well. So, but anyway, so my point was that what happens at the end of the at the end of the castle, like that is too big a thing to be tucked behind at the end of a raid. That root. No, don't do that. There's Lazarus's sarcophagus infused with bloodstone stuff and Massart statues and everything. It's like, that is major. That is to me, that is really critical. Like, you can bang on about fighting Zira and the Keep construct, which is super cool, but and I was willing to kind of go along with it, with the bandits and the subtler aspects of the White Mantle, giving it like nice little tidbits of story here and there. But then that last bit where it's quite obviously Lazarus has been sealed inside that bloodstone looking coffin type thing, and then on top of that he does his big reveal at the end as well. I was like, this is now super important to the Living World season 3.
Yeah.
I think you were pretty correct when you called it sort of a
Sarcophagus?
like a preamble to Living World season 3, right?
Yeah.
Pretty important moment there in the raid. Probably the most important. I got called insensitive because I brush away a lot of what happens in the raid and how it's not overly important for the story. And to be honest, a lot of the raid lore, as good as it is, as well as I think it's told to the players who are in the raid, a lot of it's notes and stuff. And of course, it doesn't mean it's not important, but it just sort of fills out and colors in who the White Mantle are and sort of what they've been up to, and that sort of information is sort of given to you in Living World season 3, more or less, especially if you dig around in the dialogue that exists there. But that last scene is probably the biggest deal for all of the raid information.
Yeah,
and that's not really talked about too much in the story. Which I guess sort of makes sense because of his big reveal at the end of that first episode.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that kind of makes a little more sense, but
see that that's the thing. I think you're right in saying it's kind of a big moment, like at the end of the raid, the whole seeing like the silhouette of him. But I considering we got to actually see his reveal at the end of the episode, I think it wouldn't have really added very much to the episode if we had seen his like kind of thing before we find out it happened, because it would have been like a really short-lived, like, oh, what's this, we see the silhouette of a Marsat, and then like half an hour later you actually see him. I think it was better put in the raid a lot earlier to kind of build hype, as opposed to throwing it in early-ish in the episode and then by the end of it you already know what it is and there's not really any mystery there. And like Inks was saying, we do get most of that information told to us, like having, obviously I know what happened in the raid, but I still haven't done it, so I could still play through within the kind of mindset of someone who hasn't raided, and I don't think it affected my like enjoyment or anything.
No,
really.
It's in terms of the structured narrative, the reveal at the end of Wing 3 certainly sits in the right place.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
But it was more the fact that, to me, that even ignoring the rest of the raid notes and all that kind of thing, like, to me that was a really big moment. And even if it had just been recapped in a little cutscene or something like that, with the suggestion that we found this thing at the end of the Twisted Castle, the Twisted Maze rather. The Stronghold of the Faithful, that's what it's called, isn't it? But no, in hindsight, I mean, I completely understand what you mean. I played through Out of the Shadows before I finished the raid, so it certainly didn't detract away from what I got out of the episode.
I mean, I do understand what you're saying, though. I guess it would have been like, maybe if it had there been raids at the end of season 1, it would have been like finding out Scarlet was gonna attack Lion's Arch before she actually did, and it would have been like this kind of, I guess, some kind of advantage or some kind of storytelling that affects everyone, like a plot point that affects everyone, but only given to, you know, a certain demographic of players. So I can kind of understand, but I just thinking like, you know, by the time the next episode rolls around, it's not really going to matter to many people that is in the raids. And I think it helped fuel some kind of hype for the story because it was put in earlier. And if they, you know, raids was like the only thing coming out back then, so it was really the only place they could put it.
It's just a different experience for those who didn't know anything about the raids. It was this huge reveal. Like, oh my god, where did the Mersat come from? Whereas if you've played the raids, you got the hints. And then I knew the story of the raids, and it was still an oh my god moment when he showed up. So I think they did very well with still making the reveal very surprising to both players, whether you've played the raids or not. Especially because throughout the episode they made it about Caudicus. The entire episode was about Caudicus. Caudicus has consumed this magic. He's going to be the big bad at the end of this episode, and then he ends up not being.
And then it was just like slapped away in like 15 seconds, wasn't it? I was like, yeah, you deserve that, man.
So, what did you guys think about the reveal, like of Lazarus itself?
Do you know what? I've kind of got honest. I was a little bit disappointed with the way it was done, because it was like the Jade Construct fight was cool. And people who've played Guild Wars 1 will know that the Jade Constructs were like a pretty kind of prominent trash mob, especially when you got to the Ring of Fire Islands. Yeah. So the hints were certainly there, but the way that he just kind of pops up, like going, it's me, Mario. It was kind of, I don't know. I was expecting him to be bigger and more imposing.
Yeah, I have to agree completely here. Like when I played through, I knew it was a cool moment, and it was a cool moment, but there was just something that was like I'm not.
I loved the reactions
I'm not.
of the NPCs.
I wasn't completely blown away, or as much as I hoped. And part of me thinks maybe the kind of cutscene was really. I think it was really short. You know, and I think one of the bigger things for me was his voice. I don't know whether it was like the processing they did on it or something, like it just didn't sound as like heavy hitting, or maybe the performance itself just seemed a bit kind of I am and as opposed to like something that would have been amazing if he had like erupted and kind of shouted at people. That would have been cool as hell. And the lack of any like massive kind of score, like some big music moment, I think took away from me as well.
That would have added a lot, yeah.
But I think the kind of the writing for him seemed a bit. It could have been a way more like, I don't know, like if they wanted to give him this kind of big presence, they should have had him using like maybe like grander words and talking about like wider things and being kind of mysterious in that way. And I think the voice actor's performance should have reflected that as well. And that all together mashed in with this kind of really short cutscene, I don't think it gave me enough time to kind of to make much of an impact on me. It was kind of it was over too quickly.
Yeah.
Also, when I first saw it, the design was like, I didn't enjoy it. But then after seeing like a picture, I got more of a chance to look at it, and I was like, oh, cool! It's like nearly identical to Guild Wars 1, and it looks really cool. But I think because it was so fast, I kind of just focused on like a few things, and then I was like, oh, okay.
I'll be honest, it took me a second to realize, is that an Exalted or a Mersat? Yeah. Wait, who? Oh, okay. The black wing things. Okay, that's a Mersat. Yeah. It took me a second.
Yeah. Very much that they did address this in Heart of Thorns, didn't they? The confusion between the Exalted and the Mersat. There's two NPCs wandering around auric base and someone
yeah,
going,
interior.
who would have thought the Exalted aren't related to them as such? Yes, I'm surprised as well. Christ alive. Really.
It's totally there to ram it home, yeah. Just, these are not the same.
It's funny. I've seen a lot of people say that they didn't really like the voice. I like the voice of Lazarus, actually. I didn't find him too Saturday morning cartoony. I like that he sort of has this... Reminds me of... what are they called from StarCraft? He reminds me of a...
Oh, the Protoss.
He reminds me of a Protoss kind of voice,
Yeah.
right? Somewhere of a mix between a Protoss and a little bit like the Guild Wars 1 Seers. A little bit, anyway. Of course, he doesn't really look anything like a Protoss, but the voice has that same sort of... I don't know what it is. That alien echoey sort of kind of voice to me.
Yeah.
My bigger thing was, and I know that our player character is not necessarily the same characters that are in the raids. They call them mercenaries, and so it's not necessarily your character. But as someone who played the raids, and I guess if you didn't play the raids, and if maybe you didn't have that information, you might have felt different. But when you're back in the scene with Kaith and you're talking about, Kaith is like, do you think Cauticus could have been the one who consumed all the power up? And your character's like, I don't know, maybe. And it's like, come on. We know there's no way it's Cauticus. It's Lazarus who, sucked all the energy up. So, it was a surprise moment that he popped up there. But as someone who completed the raid, I knew he was going to pop up eventually. Mm-hmm. And I knew he was the one who consumed all the energy, all the magic, rather than Cauticus, let's say.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That felt a little bit disjointed to me. I don't know that it's supposed to feel that way, but because I had prior knowledge of what happened in the raids, it skewed how I viewed the story going into it, I think. So,
yeah. Do you think extra dialogue there would have helped? Because you interact with what's-his-face down on the ground, and his dialogue changes depending on whether you've gone into the raid or not.
Mm.
So maybe they added something extra.
I'm not sure, because our character, the commander, is not necessarily the person doing the raid.
It's not definite canon.
Right, so it's a bit weird that way.
Although that reminds me, what's going on with the pack now? Because they're without a marshal and they're without a commander. Because we
quit.
We quit the pack after spending.
Hey, Commander, you've done such a great job. We want you to be the new desk marshal in Lion's Arch.
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to quit.
No, I'm good.
That can only be a cool thing, though.
It's not really working for me and Ridlock. We're forming our own guild.
We're gonna do our own thing.
We're the Dragon Watch. My bad.
But it's just daft considering that we spent most of Season 2 trying to get everybody together to fight Mordramoth. And then we kill the dragon, Traherne does, and we're just like, we're out. It's...
Yeah.
I don't know. That was kind of like... I can kind of see where they're going with the narrative on that. Actually getting us in a guild, in Guild Wars. Which is cool.
I think just it's going to be easier to manage in terms of characters and story. They can do more kind of discrete... We can do more discrete operations, right? Like, the whole thing with the pact leaving to go into the jungle at the start of Heart of Thorns, if you're a commander in the pact, surely you should be there too. It kind of gets rid of that necessity of, and then this whole commanding army thing. We can go off and do kind of the smaller things. And I guess it'd be cool if we were eventually put in a position where maybe we had some information that Timey found out and we were off going to do something, but maybe the pact didn't want us to do it, or maybe it looked suspicious or whatever, and we could be kind of at odds with each other. I think that'd be a really cool balance to have this world army, as kind of this. I don't know. They could do a lot of cool stuff with this story if we're kind of outside of that.
I don't think the pack's going to die out. I think they just are going to play less of a center role.
Plus, they could
think
bring
so.
some new characters or smaller characters and say, hey, look, this guy's the new marshal, or this guy's like a commander in the
Well,
pack
I
now.
think.
It's like
I mean, I think the
some
marshal's going to
random
end
character.
up being like one of the key characters, like either Almora or maybe
Flunt.
one of the other.
I think
not
it'll be
Flunt, but
Almora.
like
Flunt for
Once.
Marshall 2016.
Flunt. I love Flunt. Flunt is such the typical
No.
Asura.
Oh my god.
I love
he is.
him. I
He
love
is the
him.
typical Asura. Oh man.
I just see him.
Hashtag
walking
pump
up.
Flunt.
I just see him walking up, and I'm like, oh, we're about to get some Flunt goodness right here. Here he comes. Here he comes. Progeny.
Oh,
I'm so terrified.
I'm not
Flunt.
hiding anything from you. I love how she
Yes.
just mocks him right in front of his
Did
face,
you-
and he just doesn't care.
there was a interestingly there was something on, I think it was on Reddit. I think it was in the AMA, but Timey's character is bigger this season.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah, I didn't
they're-
notice that, but they did say that. She's
Yeah.
growing. She's growing. They said they made
Yes.
her character
It's just a
model
cool little
physically bigger.
attention to detail.
Yeah.
Yes, like-
So
Yeah.
So the thing is, hopefully, if they make her big enough by the end of season 3, she'll actually be allowed to take part in combat.
yeah,
Hmm?
I think that could be why they're doing it. 'Cause They said they
I don't
couldn't.
know. Maybe.
They said they
Because
couldn't
she's
ever
technically
put her
still a
in those
child, wasn't she?
situations.
It's
It would
because of her
affect like
age.
the age rating of
Yeah.
the game. Or something.
So if she's actively getting older in front of you now,
She's only
I mean,
a year older. I mean,
yes, 15.
Maybe
that's
she'll do an
that's old
experiment.
enough for a child soldier, in my opinion.
She'll drink that chak juice thing she's making and grow
yeah.
Oh
And
my
then
god.
she'll, like,
Such a
Hulk out
bad
on us.
idea.
go like Norn size.
non-sized Azura. Jesus Christ.
Nah, she's gotta make Scruffy 2.0. She just doesn't have time
So-
right now.
I'm probably too much of an elitist, but most of Dragon's Watch I wouldn't actually invite into my guild. Like, Rox
Nah.
isn't even a druid. Sorry, don't have any
Yeah.
use for you and Frostbite. You can just.
Oh.
I mean, you're using a Devourer.
Devourer,
It's
exactly.
it's not a bear.
It's
thank
not even
God,
a bear.
but
She's not even
I
a
mean-
Barbo Inks, you know?
Devourer is a pretty terrible pet in the game. I'm just saying, Rox. Come on, get a tiger. I
I
don't know
thought it
what
was
to
a
tell you.
shame she didn't have very much of a spotlight in Heart of Thorns, and then now again in season 3. I hope we have some more dedicated time with Rox, because her character's slowly just starting to feel a bit pointless at this point.
Yeah.
She brought Garm back, dude. She's so
Yeah, I know,
how
but, like Garm can handle himself.
Archery. You're using a great sword. It's totally not meta. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, you guys are just all playing wrong.
It's kind of...
Casimir,
fine
you're
in
using a
PvE.
staff.
It's
I
Oh,
okay.
mean,
Mesmer staff.
Actually, forget it. Casimir, you're not even in the story yet, so you don't even count.
Yeah.
We haven't even
And then
encountered
Bro-
you yet.
And then Braum isn't even a dragon hunter.
Oh my god,
Well,
don't get me
that's
started
probably
back
okay.
on that.
Kate's
That's
to win,
probably okay.
Hate to
Kate's
win.
not a
Dude.
daredevil.
You can't afford Heart of Thorns, so leave him alone.
Kate was using her pistols. Does she usually use her pistols? She usually uses her daggers, right?
She used her daggers, yeah.
Yeah, she was using pistols in the
Kate
in the
was
third
running
instance.
The dual pistol messer.
So, you know what? As far as I'm concerned, until the band starts to see an update, until they get into the meta, you're not really
Dude.
welcome in my guild.
None of them even have
It's-
gliding.
It's just
A
really
lot.
me and Ritlock. I don't know what anybody else is
I don't
doing
know
in the
what they've
guild
been
right now.
doing during Heart
But
of
the
Thorns.
thing is, we can confirm that Ritlock is a herald because we've seen him use glint in Heart
yes,
of
he
Thorns.
came out of the
Yeah.
mist as a herald.
Yeah.
Dude, he was in the he was the meta before the meta
Yeah.
was a thing.
He was the meta before the meta.
He was running meta
created
builds in
the
the
meta.
beta, man.
He's not using an axe in his offhand, but it's close enough, I guess.
He was playing Revenant. It doesn't matter that much.
Man, we have some serious problems in our guild. They just want to run whatever the hell they want to run, and it's not working for me.
Just G kick everyone, man.
Yeah.
I wonder if Bram, now that you mention that, I wonder if Bram in his little excursion to the Shiver Peaks here is going to come back a Dragon Hunter using Air's bow. 'Cause it's all I want. I want him to be using Air's bow. I want to see that so bad. Dragon
Yeah, me
Hunter for
too.
the win.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I mean, we've spoken about this since before Heart of Thorns came out. You know, when the Dragon Hunter was like revealed or whatever, and I wouldn't have much of an impact, I don't think, because everyone's expecting him to use it. I want him to break the bow as a kind of emotional scene
Whoa.
just be like- to everyone that's expected it for like 2 years.
Do you mean sort of like that bit in Point Break where Keanu Reeves tries to shoot Patrick Swayze, but he doesn't, and he's like, ah!
Exactly. I just wanted to reenact that scene. Yeah.
And Ritlock's wearing a Ronald Reagan mask.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So the other big reveal, Primordus.
Primordus.
Yeah.
The big head honcho dragon.
Well, the one who's been awake the longest.
Mhm.
Well, Primordus is the Great Destroyer, though, isn't he?
The Great Destroyer was
Yeah.
one of his champions.
Right.
I don't know if they call Primordus the Great Destroyer, but yeah, wasn't expecting that. Of course, I was expecting Kralkatorrik, and to be honest, I'm still expecting Kralkatorrik.
Yeah.
There's people going, "Oh my God, Primordus confirmed for next expansion's dragon." I'm like, guys, no, it could really still be any of them. We could have multiple dragons.
I'm a little confused too why everybody keeps saying the Fire Island chains for Primordus. Did I miss something as to why we're going there, or why people think
I
we're
don't
going
think
there?
you are. Like
No.
Primordus was asleep under the central transfer chamber in
Yeah.
Right, and there
Island North.
there is some text and stuff to say that he has been moving around, or he could have been moving around some. So it's likely that it's possible that he's no longer in that same area. But I'm not sure why they think, like, I see a lot of people say the Fire Island chains, and I'm not sure why.
If you look in the map in the game and kind of, I don't know, say if you were to make a note of where there are destroyers in the game, it is pretty widespread.
Right.
So maybe he can like freely move under the surface. Regardless, though, the Fire Island chain, we're not gonna go there because of Primordus.
I don't know.
He was never there. There was never destroyers there. That was prophecies.
But interestingly, there were Masat there.
Right.
So the original prophecies had the Masat guard keeping the door of Kamali closed to prevent the Titans returning. So I can see the Titans. Hang on, I'm just going to have to quickly do this because I've got a really interesting feeling that the Titans somehow will come into this. That
another threat. We've got Caudicus, we've got Primordus, we've got Mersat, we've got White Mantle.
What if we end up allying with Lazarus to keep the door of Kamali closed while because there's an insane amount of magical energy that has to be poured into the door of Kamali to keep it closed to prevent the Titans returning. Now, if Primordus comes along... Well, no, Vizier Kilbron wanted to... Well, yeah, he did crack it, but we sort of closed it again at the end, didn't we? We kind of sealed it back up and stopped the Titans coming out all over Tyria. But...
Well, but the Titans aren't related to Primordus, though, right?
No, they're not.
I'm kind of missing the correlation. Okay, go ahead.
No, my kind of point is that if there's another attempt to open the door of Kamali by Primordus because he wants to extract all the magical and all the
That's
bloodstone
actually an
energy
interesting idea.
Then we could potentially ally with Lazarus because Lazarus is the only living being left who holds the secrets to protecting the door of Kamali.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a bit complicated.
I mean, and it does seem like they'd be throwing a lot of stuff at us if we had like that kind of three, kind of things. Though the reason to team up with Lazarus would be awesome for the story, and he did talk about how he had kind of grander visions, not just kind of human politics. And I mean, I guess it makes sense.
There's this theory or idea going around that Lazarus is going to visit the other Bloodstones and try and repeat the process to consume as much energy and power as he can get his hands on. Maybe this is the way for him to bring other Mersat back to life or back into the world. He needs more power in order to do something like that. I don't know if it really has much to do with the Door of Kamali and the Titans, etc. He's a lone Mersat right now, so is he really afraid of Titans? I mean, he might be, but
Yeah, that's another.
He's trying to assert his dominance over the White Mantle right now from Caudicus.
Mhm.
That was a point that Synchrony brought up earlier. Was that why, if he's almost godlike, why did he even show himself to us and talk to Caudicus? Well, he's the lone Mersat, and Caudicus is trying to take over the White Mantle, so Lazarus has to assert his dominance again. And he even said, "Those of you who don't follow me, burn."
Yeah, and this was the thing, that the Mersat were using the White Mantle as instruments to harvest souls of the Chosen to keep the door closed.
Mhm.
So, I mean, again, it could potentially be a little bit of a rehash of prophecies the way that I'm talking at the moment. So, I think it'd be
You've
very
definitely got your tinfoil hat on.
Yeah, definitely
And that's
get my tinfoil hat. Get out of my head, ArenaNet. Get out of my head. But there is actually one thing that I would love to see, and I've been hoping this would happen when Primordus came into the fray, and that is the reappearance of the Great Dwarf, and Primordus and the Great Dwarf have a giant fight while we're doing something or other. Like, because I said before that Primordus was the Great Destroyer. He wasn't. The Great Destroyer was one of his champions, like you said, Peachy. But that Great Destroyer went down far too easily to face off against the Great Dwarf. It's like the Great Dwarf versus Primordus. I think that is.
We could see a return of some dwarves. That'd be cool.
That is an expansion pack finale, I think.
Well, we're off fighting Kalpatoric.
Playable
the dwarves come back to fight Primordus.
Yeah. You can just imagine it, like, if you have, like, a mobile battlefield, well, destroyers are streaming up all over Primordus and we're running up the Great Dwarf, and then we're meeting in the middle, and then you have to jump across while they're trading blows. How cool would that be? And how much of a nightmare would that be to implement in a game?
Oh, it would be a pain.
I think we're going to find out that most of the dwarves are probably dead.
Yeah.
There's some lore that says they were guarding the entrance to, like, letting Primordus get to the surface. I think we're going to find out that those are mostly dead, if not all dead, and that's why you see more and more of his minions popping up on the surface.
Yep.
Yeah.
However, I think it's pretty interesting, or it could be rather interesting, if we got some maps in Corteria of, like, the underground of Corteria. It could be an interesting angle that they.
It would be a way,
approach.
like add a new zone, but it's underneath a zone we already.
Some people might not like
cool.
that. Some people might not like that because then it doesn't technically reveal more a new map. It doesn't fill the map out. It fills the underneath of Tyria out, but I don't know. My biggest fear for Primordus is that the other two dragons haven't been overwhelmingly awesome. And Primordus being my favorite, I'm really scared that he's just not going to be... that he's just not going to live up to my own personal hype, I guess. I don't know.
I know what you mean, because Primordus is my kind of thing. Like, I want it to be excellent. I need that to be spot on.
Right. Well, I guess we'll see.
But that was the actual reveal of Primordus. It was so not downplayed exactly, but it was much more subtle. But to me,
I love that about it.
Yeah, it had so much more impact than, or at least it had more impact to me than the Lazarus reveal did.
Yeah, for sure. It was just that silent and that just kind of one line. That's just.
Yeah, I
and
thought
then
it was
the swords
brilliant.
and the shields come down. You're like, oh.
I was like, oh no. The real thing is when you see end of episode 1, and I'm like, no, you can't end it like that. I wanted more. It left me wanting more. Where her saying Primordus is active, and the voice acting was really good too, I thought. And she led up to it. She's like,
Taimi's
well,
voice
something kind of
just...
catastrophically bad is happening.
Very Asura and Taimi in her way, about the way she approaches things.
I think her voice actor is probably one of my, maybe my favorite in the game after Kanak. Obviously, Kanak's just brilliant, but like Taimi's performances are always really good.
The only thing is, and I know this is super nitpicky. I know. I got criticized for being too nitpicky the other day. I know this is super, super nitpicky, but you can hear her voice in the other golems and constructs around Radanovis in the story. So like the same person who voices Timey also voices. There's alteration done to the voice a little bit, but you can tell that the golems and stuff are done by the same voice actress.
Yeah.
And having all the more or less the same voices gets a little bit not confusing, but it's like too much of the same voice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, she voices a lot of characters, and it's very easy to tell that it's her.
Yeah.
It takes you out of the game a little bit. For me, it takes me out of the game when I can instantly recognize that it's Timey's voice actress, and I'm like, oh, okay. Like, so suddenly I have this disconnect from the character.
In fact, while we're on kind of voiceover stuff, there was something that, again, this is really mild and nitpicky, but there were a lot of the voice excerpt, the voice over lines that I heard playing as a male Sylvari through it. There was a lot of clipping issues with the sound, Almora and the male Sylvari in particular, and a lot of the Char. So if you ever hear that kind of slight distortion when they go a bit louder, it just means that the microphone's taken in too much. And it's kind of really nitpicky, but it just kept happening every now and again.
I never had that issue.
No, maybe it's just me being picky.
I've played through the story 3 or 4 times now, I think, and the voice clipping it's not always there. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's there in different scenes. It's weird as to where it happens.
It won't be the recording sound.
Yeah,
it's some way that the recording is implemented into the, and I don't know the technology, but I don't know the work behind that. I don't know how any of that stuff is done, but and it's not a new thing. It's a thing that's persistent in the game for a long time, where voice clipping just sometimes oddly happens from time to time.
Yeah. Do you know what we've not talked about yet? We've not talked about the new map. We've not talked about the map itself, Bloodstone Fen.
You are correct.
How awesome is it on a scale of awesome to awesome?
It's all right.
It's not my favorite map in design, but it's like personally, but it is really well done. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I recognize that it's a very cool map. The atmosphere in it, especially when you're up in the air and you're surrounded by like the red sky and the red walls are very intense. So I love the design and the like implementation of the different aspects of it in the map. Quite challenging map. I died a lot my first time running through it.
Did you die a lot at those cleric events? You know, where you have to kill the Seekers?
Oh, those are so annoying.
Jesus
the
Christ.
The Seekers are so fast. They're so fast.
There's so many of them.
Yeah, so there's the scaling on that seems a bit weird, right? There's way too many Seekers for you to it's rare. I have succeeded a few times in that event, but it usually just fails. And the more people that come, the more Seekers there are.
And the thing is, it's like eventually the cleric empowers and you can just kill it anyway. So it seems like a bit of a redundant. But what I really love about this map is that, to me, this is how the verticality should have worked in Heart of Thorns. That this map was just perfect in terms of like in terms of the 3 levels of the map. It was all there. So you had your high level stuff across the entirety of the map, you had your ground level stuff, you drop into the Bloodstone Moor, and then it tucks all the way back under going in the other direction. So you have 3 entire levels on that map. And to me, that is just like, it's, I mean, I did read something that they said that the root stuff at the bottom of Verdant Brink was more of a time constraint to get the game shipped, so they had to make a few sacrifices there in terms of what was going on in the root level. But no, just a map of 3 full layers, and then like so many events going on as well. Like, you're spoiled for choice.
See, I feel like it's a small map, so the amount of events that are there is probably fine, but it gets really repetitive really quickly. And it's come to a situation, at least at the times that I play, it's come to a situation where this map is just now part of people's meta rotation.
Yeah.
I like the fact that there's not the whole map is just one meta, and I like that there's a lot of little separate events, and then it sort of culminates into the Jade constructs and the sort of Veil Guardian-ish fight that happens in the very bottom. But people they'll come to the map when that's active and really kind of only be there when it's active, and then they all flee back to Arc Basin or wherever else they're going to do.
I think, for me, the map is there to do a job. There was a big story thing, and they needed this kind of destroyed environment, and it does that job perfectly. It's not a map I am going to enjoy walking around and exploring like I would one of the core maps or something like that. It's there to be that kind of destroyed, chaotic thing. People, it's small on the map, it's really vertical, and it is fun. But the events, like Inks was saying, are really repetitive. Rewards, let's face it, aren't great when you compare it to stuff like when the Silver Waste first came out and stuff like that.
They're very limited. The Unbound Magic, you collect enough for that, you get a free Ascended Ring, bud.
Yeah, who needs that right now, really? Like, for people who...
stats.
But I mean, cool, yeah, for people that don't have that stuff already, then it's really useful. But, like, I think, like, for me, personally, the rewards aren't really there.
Everyone's not as pro as you, Corvus.
Yeah, give us a
I
chance,
don't even
mate.
rate. I just think it's kind of boring. Like, you've got, like, if you don't like the design of the back piece, then...
That's what I'm going for. I want the back piece.
I think the back piece is
That's
awful.
about it.
Awful?
I think it's rubbish.
What?
It looks like a giant mohawk made out of Christmas tree lights.
It looks okay.
I like it.
I don't know that it's one of my favorites.
No clue what character I would use it on, but I love the design.
But you want it.
It's giant crystals. It's giant crystals. I need it.
I think that's really it, though. If you don't like the look of it, then you'll buy the gliding skills over time, and that's about it. Obviously, for farming, if you're farming XP, I'm sure it's great. And you also have those kind of reward bags that drop stuff. So, yeah, like you were saying, it's going to be kind of a map people jump to kind of farm the meta, and then they'll go off and do other stuff. I think because if you look at any map, right, in Guild Wars 2, there's a lot of variety. You'll have like a forest here, and then there'll be this thing, and then there'll be this place up here which is bad. There's Ice Brood or whatever. There's like, this map is just one thing all the way through it, and it's there to do one job and be that kind of story-related chaos stuff, and it does that great. But it's just, I don't know. Someone in chat described it as the coolest and most well-polished map that I'll never go back to, and that's kind of how I would describe it. It's not. I doubt it's gonna stick around as well as something like the
Right.
So here's the thing. It can be an extremely rewarding map, especially if you go for the rare crafting bags. Those rare crafting bags, oh my gosh, they're so good. So once you're done getting your home instance node, which is 50 gold, although there's this debate where eventually that's going to add up to a free ascended item, so I guess it pays for itself over time regardless. Yeah. And then there's a couple people in chat saying how you just need to like leech instances, which I really dislike, but fair enough, to get an ascended ring fairly easily, or an ascended piece fairly easily every day. So if you need these ascended pieces, this map is fantastic for doing that. Pop in and do whatever you need to do and move to your next character. And so it's nice to get ascended pieces, which people are complaining about a little bit when it comes to gearing up for raids. How do I gear up for raids? How do I get some of the, not every piece, but some of the ascended pieces that I need? And we know going forward that ArenaNet's goal sort of is to offer more ascended rewards with future living story releases. Mm-hmm. So this is probably just the first batch in what will be a continuing way or more ways for people to earn ascended items. And in that way, I think it's good.
There was lore talking about like bloodstone infused weapons and stuff. The White Mantle were trying that out. You fight those kind of weird lay weapon things. Potentially, they could have maybe added like actual weapons to buy from the vendor with rubies as well,
That would have been cool. Smart. But that would have added to the longevity.
it would have been great. But I mean, rings and amulets, I just don't. I mean, that's not cool for me, really. I don't really care that much. I already have that stuff. But I think maybe they didn't want to add it all there. It's a relatively small map. Maybe they have plans to do that later in a different release or something, and that could be why. But the map is best for XP farming, like people have said in chat as well. It's great for that.
Wasn't there something that one of the devs said on Reddit that they're looking at bringing a new armor set or a new weapon set? Well, like you said, the Bloodstone weapon set or whatever it's going to be called. In with subsequent living world releases.
I don't know. I've not seen anything concrete, but maybe. Even if they just reskinned the Laystone weapons or something, it would have been cool.
And didn't put them in the gem store.
I haven't heard anything about weapons. Armor-wise, we know that we can expect armor pieces for Living World releases, but not a full armor set. A full armor set takes them way too long to make. My hope, and I have a video coming out soon on this, but my hope is that by the time we're done with the Living World Season 3, that there will be a full armor set for you to have earned like along the way. Like we have a crown that we get, which is universal no matter which weight class you wear. The crown doesn't look any different. Depending on your race, it looks a little different. But
it's rewarded as a kind of a meta achievement thing.
Right.
And if they deliver it to us that way over each episode, that would be quite cool. But yeah, and then because it's kind of the same overall weight classes and stuff, maybe the whole armor it would be more akin to like an outfit in terms of how the designs are split across different characters, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. See.
So, and again, there's gonna be perception whether you like the helmet or not. Some people will like it. Some
It's
people
great.
won't.
I like it.
That's why we have transmutation charges.
There you go. But so I mean, you're looking at probably more ascended items going forward, like accessories or a necklace or whatever. I don't remember. There's what is it? Back piece, ring. And what's the third
An
one?
amulet, I think.
An amulet.
Yeah.
So probably accessory soon, and maybe some other pieces after that for you to earn for ascended. I mean, to earn ascended wise, I think it's great. There's lots of newer players who haven't been playing quite as long. And this is a great way for them to earn ascended. And for those who don't raid but do want vipers or something like that, this is a way that they can earn those as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, let's move on to all of the, we talked about the story, we talked about the map, like all of the, and we'll talk about the fractal and the PvP map, but I want to talk about some of the quality of life changes. At least mention them.
Oh, damn.
Because, oh my god.
Insta-salvage! Insta-salvage!
Mass salvage.
Mass salvage. I can't say I've been salvaging stuff no, I can't say that here. Can't say that here at all. I was going to make a masturbation joke, but I've decided not to take the high road.
Good job.
Good job.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. A billion times I love it. It's made my life. You probably have, my mouse will now last probably 60 times as long as it was going to before this. Now I just need an open all bags. And we're good to go.
Open all bags.
So if you could just work on that next, I mean, I'm sure this was no problem. You guys just press the button and put it into the game.
Right.
That's just how development works. You guys don't really
press
have
the
to.
button, job done. Yeah.
I wish I had a big red button that I could just press and say it's done. Anyway.
So worth it.
Yeah. And then we have like percent health on boss.
That's nice.
For me, that's huge.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
For me, that's huge as well. So
it's so weird now that I didn't realize I was missing it before, but now it's there.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. In the perfect world, I would be able to see their exact health, but I don't know that Guild Wars 2 is gonna.
That's the next step.
I don't know that Guild Wars 2 is gonna let us ever necessarily see that. So you know what? I'll take the percent health so that I can.
Yeah.
I can see exactly when I need to kill myself in the raid so that we don't get eternal and stuff. Insult. So.
Well, although it was very disheartening the other week when we were doing Matthias and he was on 1% health, and his bar was empty. I was like, no, come on, man, just.
Something that's kind of interesting too. At least in a 5-man party, I didn't notice this in raids. I don't think it necessarily applies to a raid squad. But in a 5-man party, you can also see the percent health of the players with you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, you can.
So that's cool. I know Noxicon was asking for like a percent health for your orb in the center, and that would be cool too. That would be really cool as well. But yeah.
But yeah, the percentage health thing was again something I mean, you know, I wouldn't have asked for before, but I'm really glad we got. Just for seeing stuff like you're fighting a guy and you're like, oh, he's at 51% health, and you know, in PvP, and maybe he's got a trait that activates when he goes under half health, so you can get ready for that. You know, when it was just that kind of sketchy painted line, you weren't sure if it was half or if it was just over or under or whatever. Yeah. So it's just making things a lot easier to manage, and I don't know, it's really good. I was really happy with it.
Oh, account-bound recipes.
Oh yeah, that's a big
one.
Awesome. Could have used you like 3 years ago when I deleted all those recipes, but you know what? Better late than never.
Do you mean when you deleted a character with the Chaos of Lyssa recipe on it?
Yeah, whatever. I mean, it's only worth like 400 or 500 gold.
Oh, and the rest. It's 1,600 gold on the trading post.
Oh my god.
Well, that's a bit more than I thought it was worth. 1,600 gold, whatever.
What's that? What's that to Dirty Arena?
I mean, I'll just go buy another one like it's nothing, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, what's really great about it is this. It used to be that, and I know not a lot of players do this, and this is a really niche situation, but I load all of my crafting professions on 2 characters. So I don't have to guess who knows what. I either load up this character or this character, and they craft everything in the game for me. So it used to be that when I was playing on my Revenant, who is a scribe and not anything else, I'd have to just hold on to the recipes, bank them, go onto the character, do you know this recipe? I don't have to do that anymore. I just open the recipe. Do you know, does my account know it or not? And then I can either use it, throw it away, trading post it. It's just, it is so helpful.
I have so many books that have dropped, like Viper's books and stuff that I've had no idea. Like I just throw them in the bank because I'm like, I don't know what character to put this on. I don't know what to do with this right now, but I'll probably need it eventually. And so now I can go and just clear out all those books.
If anyone's farmed the Silver Wastes for even 10 minutes,
oh,
you know, they've probably got a stack or 2 of stuff.
So many
now
recipes.
You just have to click it once and then throw the 2 million you have away, and then you're done. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's great.
Now I just want them to break the game and make all of your actual crafting disciplines account bound.
Well, oh, jeez.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that would destroy the game, and it would destroy a lot of the economy. But
if they did that, people would be annoyed because crafting licenses are in the gem store.
That's why they could never do that.
It would completely devalue a lot of lower-level mats as well, because people only ever buy them to level up other characters for crafting or whatever. It would be a bad idea, but I'm lazy, so.
Yeah.
I'm like Inks. I have my dedicated this character has these 2, this character has these 2, these character has.
Yeah, me too.
So.
I went out of my way to buy licenses so that only 2 characters had to be my crafters.
Well, you couldn't have like 5 or 6 characters that you could never.
And delete. I used to, like this character, these 2 characters.
But why do you split it anyways? Because you can do them all in one character. You just have to go talk to a guy to deactivate.
No, I'm not paying for that.
It's 2 seconds, dude.
No.
It's like 1 click.
No.
Like my main is pretty much everything for me.
It's expensive. How much is it? Eventually, when you're maxed to 500, how much is it to switch?
Isn't it? It was
I've
something
never
like.
Noticed it. I don't know if it costs
like
anything.
20 silver, 25 silver, or something.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I ain't got time for that.
I'm sorry, Mr. Silver is pocket change for me.
Well, no, I'm just wondering how much gems you spent, and how many times you'd be able to swap.
Silver. It's not 2 silver to change. It's 2 silver at $10.
2 silver.
You know what though? It's about convenience. It's just like like an infinite tool, right? I don't want to pay to change. 50 silver.
Screw that.
For as much as I would change, that adds
I mean,
up
how
a lot.
often do you craft? Well, I don't know.
Every
man.
day.
It's just...
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but how often do you have to change?
What do you mean? How often would I have to? I don't know. But I craft every day. I craft my daily mats. I make my linseed oil every day.
Do you do your spirit wood planks and
all that every day. You have to. If you ever want to craft anything that's legendary, you better be crafting that every day, or you're going to be waiting 7 years to get through tier 2 of something.
Yeah.
Just farm gold for an hour and buy it instead.
No, I'm not farming gold. Dude,
I've got to
clearly you've
farm
never
gold
seen
for
my
it.
account. I clearly don't farm gold for anything.
Let's get his API on Guild Wars to efficiency.
My account itself is worth a lot, but that's not because there's any gold in it. It's just because I have skins of whatever. Yeah.
My account lost about 1,500 golds worth of value, over about 3 days because the Zodiac skins started dropping in Black Lion chests.
Yeah, I don't
think they do anymore, though, do they?
Somebody was saying that to me as well, that their account... I don't know what my account value was at before, so I don't know how much I lost. I just know what it's at currently.
Yeah.
So somebody else was saying that to me too, like their account lost like...
Well, it's all going to be based on market.
2,000 gold in value or something because of changes to whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all in physical assets. Yeah, skins, minis, dyes.
His characters have like properties in Radasum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Offshore Canton bank accounts.
Everything I own has been mired away in Boardwalk and Park Place. You just have to land there. I don't own anything else. Oh boy.
Unfortunately, he invested in Cantha.
Yeah, he's okay.
Investment Canton bonds.
Wow. Yeah, that's a great investment.
Buy beachside property in the Dominion of Winds.
Oh. I love the search bar in the collections tab. I've been wanting that since launch.
Yeah.
It's so nice. I've used it a couple times too already. I'm
Do you think this could mean that they might expand some of those items? So there's a conversation right now about blood rubies.
Yes.
Right, so you collect blood rubies, but blood rubies don't go material storage, and there was a dev comment, something to the effect of, and I'm paraphrasing, something to the effect of, like, blood rubies are not considered material for material storage. Now, I don't know why that is, but if we have a search bar, like, you can expand that. I mean, maybe there's a technical limitation that I'm just not aware of, probably, but...
Nah, they just have more stuff in our inventory, so we buy bag slots.
Yep.
I mean, like... So, like, I have several stacks of, like, the blade shards.
Yeah.
And I don't really have anything to do with them, but at the same time, I don't want to get rid of it.
Yeah, same.
Just because, like, I don't know.
In fact...
Might need it someday.
Do you know what I keep accidentally chucking away as well? Chack eggs and reclaim metal plates.
Yeah, those are like trophies, right? That's really kind of annoying.
Like, you need reclaim metal plates for the weapons at the end of Dragon Stand and chack eggs for stuff in Tangled Depths.
Right.
Like, it really annoys me that stuff like that, and then zinc and nickel and whatever the other ore is as well that you use for weaponsmith recipes, that those aren't in your material storage either. So I've got all of this crap. I've got all of this crap sitting around, and like the first few months of Heart of Thorns, I must have chucked a ton of that stuff away because I didn't know what it was. Excuse me.
A couple people are saying that they think it's because you don't craft anything with them.
Yeah, you don't craft stuff at a crafting table.
That's a good point,
but
I guess.
it's not really like a direct currency.
It's a map currency, right? I mean, you have the Unbound Magic, which goes in the wallet, thank goodness, but it's a map currency. It's kind of like Zephyrite keys or geodes. Do geodes go in the...
Geodes go in the
wallet now, right? Okay.
Yeah, the wallet.
It's another... I see it as another kind of map currency, but I mean... I was pissed too when I was like, really? These aren't depositable? But they're a currency, honestly, they're not a crafting material.
They're also salvageable.
But then either put them in... Yeah, they are. You can get Unbound Magic from them.
Oh, cool.
But I think like if they don't want to add it to the wallet, because that's kind of a mess already, then fine. But maybe add like an extra tab in the material storage for like kind of currency type things.
That goes back to a key ring or... You know, an extended wallet or something.
I mean, at least we're not doing
toy box.
They can't go in the wallet because you need to be able to salvage them if you want to. The salvaging thing doesn't really matter because you can salvage ectos. But like
Oh,
like
right.
people were saying, you don't necessarily craft anything with them. So maybe that's the reason why it's not considered a material for material storage, I guess.
Yeah.
They should just add an extra tab for kind of like currency type things. You know, after your cooking materials at the bottom, there's just a tab for the kind of half currency, half not stuff. I don't know.
You can buy shared inventory slots. 6,000 gems for 13.
There you go.
What a bargain!
Yeah.
Wait, can we get more
That's
than 10 now?
You can,
You
Yeah,
can
you
have
can
they
get-
boosted it up.
14, I believe.
BRB
With the free
logging
one.
into Guild Wars 2.
14 with the free one they give you.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I was looking at the other day. So I have, when it originally came out, I bought 5, which was like a lot.
Me too,
And then I got
I
a
did
free
too.
one. And then I was looking the other day, and it's like you can buy. How many more was it? 8 more. I'm like 8 more. What? What? Crazy.
Yeah.
And then I was like, "Oh, that's too much money. I can't buy it more."
There's some sales.
Yeah, so you
ain't
could buy
it?
Heart of Thorns, or you could buy like
Or you
Yeah.
can.
like what's more important to you? Buy Heart of Thorns for your friend instead. Man.
Or 6 inventory slots. But
Man.
those inventory slots. So I mean, I want more. I'm not gonna pay
Sure,
full price
yeah.
for them, but
Don't get me wrong. Like
I
who
can have
doesn't?
sale
Who
in
doesn't
it.
want more? I
Please, sale. Storage
They also
expander.
added, and I don't own it either, but they also added a new area, like a new waypoint area for 1,000 gems.
Yeah,
Permanent.
what is that?
Wait, what?
That,
What?
yeah, that is so weird.
There's
looks
like
pretty.
There's like a new royal path.
Oh,
path
yeah,
possession
yeah,
for-
yeah.
There's a
Verdant Brick.
there's a royal
In
terrace
Verdant Brick.
in Verdant Brick now.
Right.
Like,
And
what's
it,
the
it
point?
looks pretty.
It's a
Some
hole in
people
the
are
wall.
Some people are complaining because
But
it's
why?
like it's not spaced out properly or something. The configuration is not like real efficient or whatever. It's cool looking. I was looking at other people's like Dolpheus stuff about it, and some other people posted videos about the area. I haven't bought it because
But
it's
what's
1,000 gems.
We
and
already
it's
have
worth
like
it.
3. So that's like 3 of those that we have now, because we've got
Yeah.
the terrace, the airship pass, and
Yeah,
now.
it's
Yeah.
a convenience thing. I don't know.
Yeah, but surely 1 would be enough. Like, is there any advantages of it being in Verdant Brink?
Yes. There
Can you, like,
is
glide
a
off it or
vendor.
something? Oh,
Well, no, there's a vendor there that you can preview like the hair changes and the dye changes and stuff.
You can do that in Lion's Arch.
Can you? I didn't
Yeah.
even know that.
yeah. If
Yeah.
you go to the
Across
vault-
from the Black Lion Weapons vendor, there's a NPC. It was added a couple months ago.
Wow,
So,
I'm out of date.
yeah.
I didn't even know that. I didn't even know it had one there as well. So okay, nothing.
The
It has
only
nothing
thing that they have above, I guess, the Queen's terrace
wow,
is
so bad.
there is an NPC that will take you to any home city. I don't know why. Like okay.
I mean,
it's
it's
one less
kinda
loading
use-
screen.
Yeah.
And even though it's still you have to go there and then you have to go. It's I don't know. Yeah, it's.
I guess it's
okay.
like Atomic is saying. I guess it's like to centralize you in the Heart of Thorns map, so you don't have to travel back and forth quite as much. Although you could guild hall
guess.
back and forth.
Yeah.
That's true because when you do go to like somewhere like the Queen's Terrace or the airship, well, I'm not sure about the airship, but you it's not like the guild hall where you push the button to go there and then you push the button again and you're right back
And you leave, yeah.
where exactly where you are. You go there, you would have to waypoint back. So I guess if you like you hang out in the Heart of Thorns maps, that's a less of a waypoint cost to get back to where you need to
Yeah.
be.
I guess
Sort
But-
of. I mean, you could guild hall
but-
back.
It's probably just there for flavor,
Right.
to be honest. Like, if they did a
Right.
Shiver Peaks one, like, I would probably get it, because the Shiver Peaks are cool as hell. Like, it's probably just there, like, oh, what's your favorite area? Do you want to be all human and be in Divinity's Reach, or would you rather be in Verdant Brink? And, you know, I guess
it's
just there.
Yeah.
funny, but a long time ago, people were hoping, myself included, that the airship would kind of move around a little
That's-
bit.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like today
glide
it's
off
in
into different zones.
Gandaren, and tomorrow it's in
That would be cool.
Iron Marches or something, right? I don't know,
That would be cool.
but
But no.
That'd actually be an amazing idea.
It would
I'd
be
like
cool.
a lot.
I mean, but
But
the
then
thing
some
is,
people
it's,
would be like, "Well, it's not in Gandaren." I have to go. I don't want to go all the way out
Yeah.
here. I don't know. So
Because then it's
some
like
people
it's
would
the
it, I
waypoint
guess.
cost to get back.
It's
to
either it's 4 silver or 1,000 gems.
Yeah, but that's a whole 50
Inks would buy
silver
it.
or. Yeah, that's it. Inks would buy it.
Thanks.
Not for 1,000 gems.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, what kind of confused me is like if you have, I mean, even though you've got like the distance thing, if you've got one, why would you buy another?
I don't.
I agree with
doesn't
Corvus.
make
I
sense
think
to me.
it's a flavor
Then
thing.
you'd have to buy another shared inventory slot so you could have it across all your characters.
Right.
And then, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing
I think
is
it's a
like
flavor thing. They're not forcing you to buy
Yeah,
it.
it'd definitely be. I mean, some people would want it. It's fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that of course, I bought the Queen's Terrace Pass, which is probably my favorite. And I did buy the airship one, and the reason I bought it at the time was because, and I don't know whether this is still true, because I always just go to the airship to do it, but there's, for your daily activities, if you want to do crab toss or whatever, it's just on the airship there at the front.
Oh.
And Divinity's
Yeah.
Reach didn't have that for at least a while. I don't know whether it even has it now.
That's cool.
Not that
Might-
I
it
know
might not.
of.
So I always just go to the airship to use that. That seems probably like a silly reason to use it for that, but at the time I wanted to see what the airship was like. I was kind of hoping the airship would move around a little bit eventually, and it did have like that extra vendor. And it depends how you feel about this, but the airship is a little more compact for faster crafting between things and moving around. And
Yeah.
So it still doesn't. Atomic is
Well,
telling me. So there you go.
Inks,
That-
you have the first two. You have to get the third one. You can't not have one,
Oh,
right?
here we go.
I've been tempted, but it's 1,000 gems, and it's in
It's
Verdant
peer
Brink,
pressure, dude.
and
It'll probably go on sale. again.
If it was in Terea, would you get it? If it was like the royal pass, for
Brought
the
you to
terrace,
this like
but it was
really
in-
pretty golden
it was in
area
Terea,
with
yeah.
Exalted.
That's coming
no,
next
like
month,
I think
guys.
I think I think the area it's in is pretty. I like the map that it's in. I like the little Verdant Brink area that it's in. The only thing that was making me think about it before was the fact that you could preview the dyes, the hairs and the dyes and stuff, but you guys said the other one has that as well, so like it doesn't even have that going for it now for me. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think it's an opportunity that ArenaNet takes to say for people who have already passed on the Queen's Terrace, it's another, hey, look at this
Yeah.
convenience item, and it's
'Cause it's
new
more
and
current.
shiny.
Sure.
It's a new area.
I mean,
So-
I don't think it's not like it's something that you really have to dissect as to why people buy it or why they don't buy it. But
yeah.
I think that some of the complaints with it were that the Verdant Brink one, things are not as efficiently laid out as they could be. So that's what, like, the airship has that over it, that the airship is more efficiently laid out.
Mm.
And then, of course, the Queen's Terrace is the Queen's Terrace. You're in the City of Divinity's Reach already, and if we get Queen's Gauntlet back, it has more intrinsic value that way as well, and so that sort of stuff.
Mhm.
That's the point. We're due the Queen's Gauntlet back, aren't we? Fairly soon.
Well, people thought so because of the ale of this month. It's the
Yeah.
Queen's Jubilee Ale, I think it's called.
Oh.
But it talks about the Queen's Gauntlet there.
It'd
so
be cool to
people
get
thought,
back.
I'd
Wouldn't
love
be
it back.
opposed.
Or wasn't one
That'd
of
be
the ales the dragon, dragon
Yeah,
bash
it
or
was-
something?
But I think the
Yeah.
wording on this one was a bit more interesting because it talks about how, like, well, every kind of Queen's Jubilee is good. Like, it's you need this ale, it's perfect to go with it, kind of thing. It just seemed a bit more like it's here, but it's not.
Oh.
So
Tease, that tease.
I mean, who knows? August is a long month, and
yeah,
there's some world versus world stuff coming, and there's PvP coming, and
Mm-hmm.
Guild Wars
Maybe.
birthday. 4 years.
Oh God,
This
yeah,
year?
4
The end of
years.
the month?
Forgot about that, dude. Yeah.
that's going to be really interesting for me. Lots of decisions will hinge upon the 4th birthday.
There'll be anniversary sales, right? So
Well, there's
that
going to be
might be
anniversary
when-
sales. Depending on how valuable to me that birthday gift is, will determine the fate of particular
Yeah,
characters.
what do you think will be next? Actually, As a word.
What did we get last year? Did we get like, a die?
finisher
Got dies.
and
We got a
Oh yeah, we got
finisher.
a finisher. didn't
We
we?
got dies. Last year was really, really good. Last year made me Last year was the only time I ever regretted deleting characters, only because I wanted more dies. So, yeah.
I don't know, maybe a mail carrier or a glider even would be really cool.
It would be great too if they updated the celebratory die pack to include like all of the newer ones.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Like,
birthday glider, please.
I don't think we're gonna get
glider.
like. I don't think we're gonna get the die pack again. I think it'll be something else. But
Yeah. Not another birthday gun.
A
No.
confetti gun. A birthday glider made of cake.
See,
Yeah.
that'd be cool, but again,
You
I
just
guess it
glide
would
every
be...
just drop cake all over the battlefield.
I could see a glider.
A glider that rains confetti.
You'd have to have Heart of
Streamers.
Thorns, surely. Oh wait, no.
Heaven
Yeah,
drop
yeah,
little
you
cupcakes.
Oh.
Little
Yeah.
birthday cupcakes.
Yeah. Blazing Hydra says in chat you can really skyrocket account value by getting some rare dies. The complete opposite actually happened last year, because there's a die called Electro Blue, and it was supremely expensive on the trading post. And then when everyone got their third year celebratory dies, everyone chose Electro Blue, and now
It just plummeted.
it's
right?
just it's
Yeah.
not worth a fraction.
Well, the rotation of the die packs in Black Lion chests really determine value of dies and stuff as well.
Mhm.
They recently rotated out some dies, and so some of the dies I needed that were part of an enameled set really came down in value, which was fantastic for me.
Well, you can already see the title. Well, you can see the titles you get for the birthdays for the next like 9 years if you want to.
Right.
So you can
the
find
next
out what
9
title.
years. Jesus.
Yeah, it goes up to 9 years old. You can see
Wow.
the titles you'd get, but obviously the rewards will be a surprise. So we'll find out soonish.
Always exciting to
Yeah.
log in on the birthday and see. Like, I have one character who gets it as the day of the birthday. The others have to wait like a couple of days,
I
like
think I've
a
got
week or
3.
so. So
Because when I make my characters, I keep mine inks. I'm playing the long game.
well, even if I would have kept those characters, like I said, they would have been a couple of weeks out.
Yeah.
Because I think I'm trying to remember launch day. I think I did make 5 characters, but some of them were just placeholder names and stuff, just
Right.
to hold a particular name. So they got deleted anyway because it wasn't the race or the class or whatever that I wanted it to be.
You were just
so
saving the name.
I was saving the name for
Yeah.
a later time.
Yeah.
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 I made all my original characters like day 1 and 2, and yeah, I still have them all. They've changed looks. I've used makeover
Yeah.
kits on most of them, but I still have
Mine too. They've changed looks and names and races, classes. Changed a
we-
lot.
Did we want to talk about the fractal changes?
That new fractal
And,
interface
And
is
the,
phenomenal.
It's amazing.
I've
Yeah.
not done it.
it
I've not
works
touched the new
I did the
fractal.
new fractal once.
short as balls.
It did seem short. I mean, granted, it's a fractal. Some of them are really short, but I was surprised. They're
I kinda like
basically
that, though.
they take elements from like all the other fractals. And
Yeah.
you like go through these like zones.
Yeah, I like fractals to be short. I know that some
Yeah.
people are in the camp of, when this was true for dungeons, they wanted dungeons to be quite a bit longer. Not a fan of long dungeons, not a fan of long fractals. I don't know what it is about that. I like them to be short. I like to get to the boss encounters and fight a boss who has interesting mechanics or something. So I don't
Epic is-
mind that it's short necessarily, but
Epic is not the word I would use to describe the new Swamp Fract. Never ending.
It's much better. New
It's
Swampland is
better.
so much better.
just yeah.
I haven't done Swamp yet. I did
It's-
Snowblind, which was a lot better.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a shame in the sense that all the scaffolding and like the high area up on the ice wall where you kind of start is kind of
It's
gone now.
isn't it?
It's a little bit of a shame, but it does make it flow much better, and
It is quite
do like-
constant now, isn't it? And,
yeah, I like it a lot more. But
yeah. And there's a few things. I think the uncategorized one has stayed the same, pretty much, hasn't it?
There were small little tweaks and changes here
Yeah.
and there to a number of the fractals, but it didn't see an actual overhaul. And we got some interesting numbers from the Ask Me Anything about those. The remake fractals take them 2 or 3 months to overhaul. A brand new fractal takes them about 5 months to develop. Now, this doesn't mean
Shorter than an armor.
this is an important part. This doesn't mean that you're only going to get 2 new fractals a year, because they have multiple projects. Yeah, the armor sets. They have multiple projects going on at the same time, so you could easily see more than 2 new fractals a year.
Yeah.
Now that the team is underway and developed and actually producing content and stuff.
Yeah.
Personally, I think that the next update will see another fractal rework of some kind, but not a new fractal. Although they could surprise us, that would be fantastic.
I think that there's the ones that they've not touched do need a rework, like the volcanic fractal.
Oh, all of them.
Jesus Christ, that goes on. Like I was doing
a lot of them. I mean, all of them will see reworks at some point, because one of the developers, I guess, in charge of that team, or at least the vocal spokesperson for the team, had said that they have a particular quality of the fractals now that they're trying to meet. Like, you see the redesign of the swampland and the snowblind and the cliffside, and they want all of the fractals, all of the current fractals, to be brought up to that level.
Cliffside is so much better. Like, just even the thing that you don't have to camp that corner where you do the wrist seals now, because I don't think they regenerate anymore, do they? I don't
know.
Like, to me, that just seemed completely ancillary to everything else that was going on. It was just a bit of a pain in the arse that if you didn't know what you were doing in a fractal, then it was a problem. But once you kept doing it, it was just a bit of an annoyance. So when you have like a sliver of health left on one of the seals because it's regenerated slightly, it's just a time waster.
The bigger thing for me with the fractal redesigns is that as you go up in level, they actually add and adjust the mechanics to the bosses, rather than just adding hit points, or rather than just making them do more damage, which they sort of do those things as well, to some extent. But they also actually add new mechanics to the bosses. Now, you can argue whether or not those mechanics are good or bad, or how difficult they really are. But regardless of that, I'm happy that they're actually adding mechanics, adding more mechanics for you to deal with, rather than just like they were before, right?
Yeah, like the remade Snowblind boss, just with all of its mobs and the corrupted crystals now. Much more interesting fight. Really, really interesting.
Right. Definitely better. They also added this thing too with the new fractal, and I don't know if the old fractals are going to get this treatment or not, but new fractals going forward will. The final boss has a special weapon skin that you get for doing it on the tier 4 mastery levels, or difficulty levels, excuse me. Now, don't get me wrong, this particular greatsword is not for me, but perhaps future ones will be. I just think it's cool that there's this extra reward for clearing it the first time or whatever. So that's cool. I like that part of it.
I've got to say, even on tier 4, I didn't think that it was a particularly hard fractal. I didn't think it was a particularly hard boss fight either. It was a bit bullet spongy. Got quite a bit of health, but his mechanics are pretty basic. And you can, in the last 15-20%, you can pretty much burn him and ignore the mechanics. So, but still, it's a good. Good little new, good little fractal.
Yeah.
I had trouble with the ending too. I kept dying. Everybody else was doing fine. I don't know what I was doing wrong.
Do you know what you need to do, bitch? Do you know what you need to do?
What
Not stand on the lights.
Not stand on the lights. I know. I tried. I kept getting hit into the lights.
You need to learn to play. What?
Oh!
Wow.
My goodness.
I know. I'm awful.
See, I can't say anything now because you've done as many raids as I have. So, as far as bosses...
I suck. I'm
Oh yeah,
really
you said you
bad
don't even
at
have ley
raids.
line gliding, dude.
Yeah,
Come on.
I have finally got it now. I just need to get a bit
Oh,
more
okay.
experience. But like wherever I go, I get carried. I get carried so hard. And then there's me at the back with my little staff going, "Guess I'm gonna heal you. Gonna heal you for some damage."
That's great,
Hey.
Alex. You keep healing back there. No problem.
I'm gonna heal
Do I need to teach you how to druid, Alex? I can teach you how to druid. It's okay.
Please, yes.
Have you guys done the new PvP map?
Yep. I did all the achievements for it too. It was quite fun. I really like that map.
So I was confused at first because I didn't realize that it was only unranked. Apparently I can't read, even though I made a video about saying how it's unranked. So I queued up like 3 times because I thought it was random. So I kept queuing up for ranked, even though it's off season.
Mm-hmm.
And I would queue up, we win that match. Oh, this is really great. Queue up again, still no Capricorn, win that match. I won like 3 matches in a row, and I'm like, man, this is really frustrating. I just can't get Capricorn. And someone's like, it's an unranked. You have to go unranked if you want to play Capricorn, and then you have to vote. You have to vote for Capricorn.
They're like, well, see, there's this video by MMOINKS. If you go to his YouTube channel and watch it, it says that it's
Watch my own
unranked.
video, figure out how things work. Yeah, too funny. So I played one match.
I really like the map. It's really good. It's got that whole old Lions Arch like aesthetic to it. It's using all those kind of assets and stuff. It's the bell mechanic is like, I mean, I was going in, it's in beta, right? So I was expecting something like Spirit Watch style where the kind of orb thing works, but it's not that good. But it's actually like, I would say pretty much perfect how it is. Like that momentum thing, like, you know, if you're good at capping and you just focus on capping points and not really playing with the mechanics, sure, that's fine. But after they get it once, you know, the next time the enemy gets that cap, then they're going to have 50 points, and then it's 75 points. And it's this whole thing where even if you don't really need to get it, you want to get it to stop them building that kind of momentum. And I think in a kind of tournament type thing on a stream, it's gonna be really good. And it's that whole thing where 4 of your guys are there. Do you go and join them in that fight to try and get it, or do you focus on trying to decap around the sides? And you're gonna see these kind of big fights in the middle there. And I think it's like nearly perfect just to go straight in as a proper map, more so than like the revamped Skyhammer and Spirit Watch are. Yeah. It's so much fun. I just like how it looks as well. Like that's such a big part of it. It's really charming, and I like how small the side nodes are. Like they're really quite small compared to most other maps. So for me it's great because I can put like necro marks right down, or put my like corruption well like on, and it covers the whole point. So like I can really like just area denial, you know, that whole point. Like it's just for me, and
so
it's really cool. It works really well with a fairly even team. It's great, and obviously it's unranked right now, so it's kind of, you know, hit or miss whether you get a good team or not. But for me, it's been fairly balanced with whoever I've been put with, and it's been a lot of fun. And so I got those achievements.
Do you auto concede when you're on Ellen Keel's team?
Well, I mean, I should. It's yeah, you should get, like, I think everyone on Ellen's team should have a little buff, you know, just like 20 might just permanently, just, you know, to compensate. Nashblade, man.
And you know you can do that now by /resign. Does that work in PvP?
It only works
only in raids.
It's only in raids. Okay.
Yeah.
Such a good feature.
Yeah.
Such a good feature. We suck, so I use it a lot.
I just use it to troll. I don't actually use it for the intended purpose.
See, it wouldn't work that well in PvP just because they want to encourage people to keep playing, I guess. So.
No,
That's
you would have people who would get like 20 points up and the other team just auto resigns. I quit. Rage quit. Lol. Yeah.
They have a report. They added a report thing now for people who just stand doing nothing in matches. I don't know if the bug's been fixed, but the first time I tried it out, my game crashed. So no one's using that report function, I don't think, at the moment.
They fixed it.
Did they? I don't know.
So
It
raids
was the other day. Happened to me.
raids have a lot of bugs right now.
Yeah, Zera's.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they know about them, and they're working on them, and that's about all we can say about that.
Maven seems to find every single one. I think we've had every single bug in Raid Wing 3 that you can possibly get.
We did discover, I don't know whether this has been fixed or patched. Never mind, let's not talk about that. Let's move on.
Matthias, no, I'm
I don't
never,
wanna-
I'm never
I
doing
don't-
Matthias again.
Yeah, Matthias is special.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
He's also buggy, apparently. I haven't
never
really
working with
raided in
Matthias
3
again.
weeks. I was telling Alex, I'm kind of retired, kind of bored. I've done it enough.
Legendary insights.
I need, yeah, I mean, that's
Just
that's
need the
really
insights, yeah.
that's really the problem, is I need the legendary insights. But
Do you guys know how much you're gonna need?
It's
150 per
150.
set.
firms, Corvus, 150 firms.
That's not that bad, surely. I mean, how many
Nah,
times do you
it's
have to
not
run
really.
that? Like, how many weeks is that?
That's
A
so.
lot.
Which is even if because you can cap your shards right every week, but do you still get insights if you do it over and over again? Could you like
No.
farm it constantly, or is it just once per week?
Just
for
once a
encounter?
week.
9.
It's once a week because it comes directly.
It's 9 a
from
week.
Okay.
It comes directly from the boss chest and not like a random.
Oh,
drop.
right. Okay then. Okay,
So yeah.
that's a shame.
I mean, you get 9 a week though now. So
I don't think that's
it
that's not
goes
that
pretty
bad.
quick.
Well, if you're good, I mean,
I suppose that's it. But then couldn't you just no?
you have tons of
Yeah,
time.
you're right. Enough. Mm.
Personally,
You just need to
see,
find-
I want so bad. I really want our group to get Zera down so bad so we can stop working on Wing 3 and just go and do Wing 1 in
Over and
30 minutes every week and get our 3 insights, which we really should be doing anyway. Like, to get our 3 insights, because, I don't know, I'm at, like, maybe 80 to 90, and, you know, we've been raiding every single week since Raid's released, but, you know, we don't clear the new raid in a week. You know, we're still trying to defeat Zera, so it's, yeah. But I figure by the time Legendary Armor actually releases, I'll probably have 150.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm not too worried about it, to be honest.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
easily.
so legendary
I
armor.
mean, that's gonna be like it's gonna be like 5 years till we get that anyway. So
Oh my
I'm
God.
waiting till I see it before I put in any work, because at the moment I'm not really that excited for it enough to work that hard when I don't even know what it's gonna look like. Changing stats, cool, but it's probably gonna be easier just to make an ascended set of every stat set anyway.
Why didn't they just tell us that we were going to have to wait for the next raid for legendary armor? We're,
I kind of
we're 10
expect
raids from now. Why not just say it? You know it, right? You know that it's going to work that way. You knew it. At least you knew it when the Crystalline Heart came out. Why not just tell us? Oh, well, I mean, they did in the Ask Me Anything, but
Yeah.
just
I
a
don't
wee
know.
bit too late. Oh well.
I like
They
working
did
towards
say it. Yeah,
Legendary.
they did. They told us in the Ask Me Anything. That's fantastic. I'm happy
Yeah.
that they told us then.
But like this we've talked about this before. Like official news like this shouldn't be coming through Reddit. It should be on the official forums or it should be on blog posts on the website.
Yeah.
I just feel like they know how long it takes to make armor. They know that legendary armor takes even longer than that,
Yeah.
obviously, because it's technically 3 sets times 5 races times 2 sexes.
Yeah.
Blah,
Plus
blah.
collections.
So that's
as
like
well. It's
90
not just its skin; it's a whole
I
collection.
mean, by that
as
math,
well.
that's 90 sets of armor, technically
Yeah.
speaking. So you knew it wouldn't be ready by the end of Raid 1, and I think there was an expectation by some people. Maybe it was an unreasonable expectation by some people, but I think there was an expectation by some people to get it by the end of Raid Wing 1, and then there was sort of an expectation for it to start again, not finish it, but maybe start again in Living World Season 3. But now we know that it'll start again with the next raid, which we don't know when that is or how big that is. We don't even know if the next raid is going to finish the collection. We do know that when legendary armor is finished, you will be able to preview it in the wardrobe so you can see what it looks like, so that you can then make a decision whether it's for you or not. Basically, you have a long time. You have a while yet before you need to make that decision.
I don't think anyone should expect. Don't expect it this year, really. Like
no.
This time next year, probably.
Wow.
Like if you think about how spaced out raid wings are and what it's do you think maybe 3 raids, or is it just going to be the end of this next full set of wings, do you think?
I don't know. I don't even want to guess anymore, because I'm just going to be wrong.
I mean, they could
spread it wrong.
With Living World releases as well, I think, honestly, it could be another 3 wings and then still a bit on from that, I'm not sure.
I mean, we still have...
And here I was saying, you'll be able to earn legendary armor in World vs. World.
You're going to make a few sets by the time it comes out.
There's going to be a fractal set. It's okay.
No.
No.
I mean, we've already. I would quite like a fractal set of legendary armor, because I really like the fractal aesthetic for the weapons and the back piece. I think it'd look cool with purple everywhere. It'd be shiny. That's the thing. Like the legendary armor better look good.
I agree. Nox better have friggin' rainbows.
I don't know. To me, honestly, it doesn't matter what it looks like.
It's like the functionality.
Well, it's not even the functionality. It's just the. As silly as it sounds, it's the prestige of the item itself, right?
Yeah.
And eventually, don't get me wrong, eventually just like the old legendaries, everybody will have, if they want it, they will have it. You know what I mean? But, I don't know. I get so many comments about the precursor armor already that I'm going to make it regardless. So, I'm already committed.
I'm making a set regardless, for sure.
Yeah.
Because it's legendary and because it takes them a long time anyway, they really do have to make these skins like applicable to everyone. I think they kind of have to.
I mean, you're not going to
go for like this really specific everybody. Design. Like, no, but I think it's going to be a bit more general. Hopefully. If they could somehow streamline the process, or they had multiple sets coming out, then they could make each one like really themed. But I'm starting to doubt how strong the visual theme of the new armor is really going to be, because it's like an envoy armor, right? So that could be like the spirits and all this cool stuff, but I think if it's the only legendary set in the game and it's taken them this long, so there's not going to be one for ages, then maybe they're going to make it a bit more generic, just so it's
medium peasant trench coat.
Yeah.
The precursor for heavy, you look like a friggin' robot. And I'm so mad.
I like it.
I don't like it at all.
Like it.
I hate it.
Love it.
But if it's shiny and there's rainbows and auras and trails and I can dye it pink, then it'll be okay.
No rainbows on my raid armor. There's no rainbows. This is raiding.
And then you have to take it off in raiding, because then there's too many particle effects and no one can see anything.
But wasn't there a quote from them that said like,
anyway, I'll be the ball of light that's running around.
And I think there was a statement, I think before Heart of Thorns, where they said like the heavy particle stuff would be tied to weapons and the armor would be a kind of, I think there was a quote saying something like it would look kind of normal, and then when you go into combat, that's when stuff happens.
I could see that, yeah.
So maybe they could bypass the whole thing by maybe saying that like the effect of it kind of works like an aura, and you could reskin it, but that effect would still happen regardless of what armor skin you were using, which I think would be really cool. But I don't know how that would be implemented, like mechanically.
Armor comes alive.
Yeah, see, that would be cool as hell.
It's little Lucerne children and bunnies as I walk around.
God, no. Those are.
I don't know. It's gonna come alive and talk to me. Zera's mask will just swing around, and we'll have 2 heads.
Is there anything we're missing? Anything else you guys wanted to talk about from?
I don't know.
The update. There was so much. I don't even know. There's something big I missed, but.
I don't think so. Right. The new Black Lion weapons.
Bejeweled, bedazzled.
I've not even looked at them yet.
You haven't even looked at them yet.
No, and that's where like 90% of my Guild Wars 2 views come from my terrible fight line weapon videos.
I don't like.
You know,
They're all right.
the weapons have mixed reactions for me, only because I don't know what armor set I would pair it with. If I had an armor set to pair it with, then like I don't think they look terrible, right? Generally speaking, there's a couple of them I actually don't mind, but like the whole gem theme doesn't really match with anything else that I have or could, like a theme that I could come up with my character. Somebody will totally prove me wrong and link a picture of a really awesome looking character with the new weapons, but
yeah.
For me personally, like I couldn't think of, like, I don't think the weapons are terrible looking or anything. There was a couple of cool ones in there, but it's like, what armor would I wear this with? Because it doesn't match what I'm currently wearing at all.
I'm trying to think if there's anything. There was that data mine back piece, but I don't know if you really want to talk about data mine stuff.
No.
Okay. No spoilers. No spoilers.
David's watching us.
I'm watching you, even though I was raiding last night and someone just blurted out like 3 data mine things. What about this and this and this? And we were like, really?
Oh, man.
Really?
I'll have to go look I'll have to go look later because I literally don't know what you're talking about.
I really appreciate what data miners do. I really enjoyed it, and I like spoiling it for myself. And I know it's a lot of hard work to go through this stuff.
Right.
I just wish people actually tried to take some responsibility and didn't spoil stuff for other people that might not want to know.
Right.
You know,
yeah,
like,
yeah. I don't have problem with data mining
indulge yourself.
people.
Go for
I used
it.
to look at it
spam
obsessively.
it on Facebook or whatever.
Exactly. I used to look at it obsessively. Like as soon as the new data mine stuff was out, I was I was one of those people. But now I would rather something be a surprise, especially because I stream. So on Tuesday, that's one of the things that, I want to go, oh my God, and I want to be surprised, and not just, say, oh, okay, that's finally out, yay. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, that's going to be a gem store item.
Yeah.
people are like, please,
no, I'm
ArenaNet,
praying
put it into the game. I don't know where it could fit with the current state of things, but please, it's gonna be a gem store item.
It will be a gem store
and it
item.
sucks that it's gonna be.
And yeah, no spoilerinos, but prepare your gems.
Prepare your gems, boys and girls.
My gems are ready.
I want it to be like a cool lore thing. Anyway, it doesn't
I'm
matter.
I'm so torn because it would fit really well with my character, current setup.
Yeah.
But it's on the gem store, and there's gonna be like
You'll buy it.
It's like the white wings, like it's just gonna be a sea of white wings everywhere you look, right?
That's true. It'll be there for 24 hours.
24 hours, yeah.
1,000 gems.
Yeah. Pooh. I want to be a snowflake, damn it.
I want a snowflake pack piece. Just a snowflake.
I still have to finish the shoulder piece.
This is the glider.
Oh God, so do I actually. Yeah.
Oh really?
I
wonder if the alcohol's gone down in price yet.
It has not.
Wait, what are you talking about?
I think it stayed pretty steady.
Yeah.
The Winter's Presents.
Yeah.
I've had that for ages.
Hipster.
I am a snowflake. Thank you, Nat.
It's a special snowflake.
He's a special snowflake.
Still on paper bag helms. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
There was
happened to that?
There was even gem
Oh, wait,
stuff.
we can't talk about those either because they were.
Everybody knows
They've
about
been in
that.
the game though. They've been there for years.
Yeah, that was like 3 years ago, right?
Yeah.
2.5, something.
We're gonna wrap up this live
Anyway.
show there, guys. This is gonna be the longest episode of GuildGab ever. But there's a lot of thoughts to talk about.
There's a lot to talk about.
It's alright. It's alright. It's funny. I started this and I said, okay, guys, this is gonna be like a real quick 30-minute episode. We're gonna get it done real quick. It's like an hour and a half later.
An hour and a half later.
Oh well. Hey, we like the game. Sue us. Alright guys, so thank you for watching. We'll see you guys again when there's more news. And go into the description and check out everybody's links. Follow us on Twitch and YouTube. Lots of Guild Wars 2 content. And we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye!
Bye guys.
Bye. See you later. Bye.